Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the Super Saiyan 4 Broly and how good he is essentially after his Extreme Z Awakening on DBZ Dokkan Battle Global as a part of the Super Dragon Ball Heroes celebration. Now Tech Broly is pretty interesting, a giant ape category lead of 150%. He greatly raises attack and raises his defense for one turn and causes immense damage to the enemy whilst greatly lowering their defense. He has attack and defense of 150% when performing a super attack, Ki +2, and launches an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack when there is another giant ape power category ally, and launches an additional super attack when all allies attacking in the same turn are giant ape power. He gets an additional attack and defense of 30% with each attack performed up to 150%. Saiyan Warrior Race, Super Saiyan, Nightmare, Brutal Beatdown, Prepared for Battle, Saiyan Raw, and Fierce Battle are his link sets, and Pure Saiyans, Time Travelers, DB Heroes, Giant Ape Power, Crossover, and Power Beyond Super Saiyan are his categories. In terms of build, I think you want to build him full crit for the full offensive Broly experience. Broly is very, very interesting, and I think he's a lot of fun as an offensive unit. I don't really think prioritizing his defensive facilitation is really necessary. Now let's talk a little bit about Broly. So Broly is a unit that gains a ton of attack and defense on Super. So Broly sits in a situation where he does not have a huge amount of attack and defense at the start of turn, but he gains a tremendous amount upon Super, 150%. Now the big thing with Broly is obviously building up that attack and defense. So he has attack and defense that he gains 30% every turn basically. Now depending on how many super attacks you do, you can get to this point very quickly. So Broly can go from having like 100k attack and defense at start of turn to having around 250k attack and defense at the start of turn quite quickly if he gets additional super attacks. To get those additional super attacks, you want to have a crossover or giant ape power category character in the same turn, and to get all of them, just giant ape power, and if you have an entire roster or rotation of giant ape power, you'll get there even faster. Now with just even one measly point in the additional hidden potential system, he also can fire up to 4 super attacks in a turn, even though it's unlikely. So Broly can go pretty ham. Broly can go pretty ham. Couple that with the fact that he'll raise his defense on a super attack and he can do up to 3 or 4 of those, then all of a sudden his end of like attack defense is pretty high. We're talking probably above the 500k mark for this Broly who's got 2 dupes in him. But for a Rainbow unit we could be talking the 600 even 700k area. For a fully linked leveled unit we're talking even higher. Remember Broly has some very, very, very powerful links. Saiyan Raw, Prepared for Battle gives him defense. Decent link set, Saiyan Raw obviously being the highlight of it. But I would say, yeah, Broly is a unit that is, quite a lot of fun. Anytime you have a raw defense unit, there's always, something that's like, how can I say, a concern. Because there's no damage reduction, there's no evasion, there's nothing that realistically, kind of points the unit into being a lot stronger against super attacks, and people fear super attacks, so raw defense is always not really high on the spectrum. Whenever a unit has, for example, just raw defense, there's always this question of like, well, they have 700k defense, but if they get hit by a super attack, they're going to be destroyed. And the thing is yes, Broly is never going to tank a super attack. The closest we're going to get is type advantage super attacks, and Broly may be able to tank those for a decent chunk of damage, but he's never going to tank like a type neutral super attack. From red zone we're talking now. Remember, we're talking the absolute highest of highest. But when you have a unit that can do 10 million, 11 million, 12 million, 13 million subsequent attack stats, it's just a lot of fun. Like, it doesn't matter that Broly's not necessarily absolutely insanely OP when it comes to defense. I think his defense is definitely more than serviceable. Yes, he's a second star unit. Yes, AoEs are going to tear him apart in the beginning. But I think overall his defense is just very usable. I think he's just in a very strong situation. I think he's very powerful. I think he brings a lot to the table. I think his raw numbers output is incredibly good. Incredibly high, incredibly good, especially offensively. So yeah, I just think there's not, I think you can complain. I think Broly definitely, probably could be a little bit better defensively. But I think for me, the only difference I would have made is greatly raising defense. I think greatly raising defense would have been like the correct play for me. Greatly raising defense on his super, because then he would have really got super high. But again, that probably would have made him the best unit in the entire celebration. So they probably wanted to avoid that. But I think for me overall, he is very good. Like, I think he is very good. I think he's a lot of fun. There is value in link leveling him because of things like Saiyan Raw, and his damage output is just really good. Really impressive, really good, a fun unit to use. He's not going to blow anyone's mind, but he is going to be fun to use. He's going to be a cool unit to run. And if you are someone who's looking to run, like, how can I say, if you are someone who's looking to run like a crossover team or Giant Ape Power team or a Giant Ape Power centric crossover team, then I think Broly's there. I think the only real thing I complain about is that he's not Giant Ape Power or crossover like a lot of the other Dragon Ball Heroes units, and I think that hinders him, because you actually can't run him on like an extreme Dragon Ball Heroes team. Well, you can, but you just can't. You won't get like nearly the same output you would if you ran him on Giant Ape Power. And for me, that's the only thing I don't like about his design. I think they should have just added in that or crossover, because I think that then, even just saying Dragon Ball Heroes, like, I think that then basically would have put him into a good light and made him really easy to construct around, really simple to construct around, and would have made things way easier. But yeah, I think overall Broly's really good. He's a lot of fun. If you have him, give him a try. He can do some really big damage, and at the end of the day, he's a really cool unit that I have a lot of fun using. But yeah, I think that's going to be it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like. Let me know what you think about Broly in the comments down below. It's always appreciated. And yeah, that's basically going to be it for me. Hope you enjoyed the video, and see you next time. Till then, bye.